Hi, welcome back to the Incept.com. We're back with our third part of Gatecrash. I'm Adam.
I'm James, and this time we're going to do green and Gruul cards.
Sounds good.
Let's jump right into it.
Adaptive Snapjaw is the first one up.
I really like this guy.
He's pretty good. I wish he had like a 6'3" body. The 6'2" is a little fragile.
Well, I mean, it's for the evolve triggers, right?
Yeah, they purposely push those guys up or down to try to help each other out.
Yeah, I feel like if you play him right, this guy can get really big.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I did have potentially two in the Simic deck that I played. Ended up only playing the one.
That feels right.
Yeah, too many fives isn't really what I want to be.
Yeah. Otherwise, not much to say. Not a bad guy.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Next up, Alpha Authority. It's another enchantment. How do we feel about this one?
I don't feel like this gives you enough to warrant playing as an enchantment.
Yeah, I mean Hexproof's obviously powerful, and the can't be blocked clause is powerful, but
and can't be blocked by more than one creature.
Right, so you can only get one, one for one. They can't double up.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't feel that great.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that great. I saw people playing it, and I disagreed with the choice.
Yeah, it doesn't do nearly enough for you. It doesn't really make a threat in any way.
It really just kind of protects your guy. Basically, is the focus.
Not much to see there.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Burst of Strength. Combat trick.
Yeah, not bad for green to have.
Yeah, it's kind of a small combat trick, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the untap thing is probably the best part of it. The fact that you can attack with a guy and surprise block.
Yeah, and the counter is permanent.
Yeah, it is a permanent +1/+1. Especially nice in Simic because they love their counters. Yeah, not bad.
Not bad, not too exciting.
Generally, I would prefer a giant growth over this.
For sure.
But the untap makes it worth it.
Yep.
Next up, one of the better evolve guys, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very versatile. He gets big really fast because of his 1/3 power and toughness.
Yeah, Croconura.
Yeah, Croconura. So he has reach. He's a crocodile frog. Which is kind of cool.
Very, very flavorful.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like this guy a lot. He's pretty sweet.
So yeah, I regularly had him as a 3/5 when I was playing Simic, and
that seems really big.
He does a lot of work when he's a 3/5 reach guy.
Oh yeah,
he just was pretty much one of the better cards all day long.
Yeah, excellent evolve enabler.
So yeah, very good enough in the evolve curve, and then it's really nice to have reach because sometimes you just get beaten down by flyers, and he just pretty much eats every flyer.
Yep, this guy's very good.
So
next up we have Crowned Ceratok. Rhino. I like it.
Yeah, he's fine. 4/3 is nice.
He's cheap. He's got trample, good ability, and works really well with Simic. Like we said earlier, that they typically have lots of flying,
right?
But generally not lots of trample.
Yeah,
it seems to be more towards the Gruul cards,
right?
And this is excellent for Simic.
Yeah, very good. And this is pretty well costed too. This is a hill giant we're talking about. Mm-hmm. You're getting a 4/3 trampler out of it.
Right,
and then an additional bonus.
It seems undercosted.
Yeah.
This is pretty
easily be
powerful.
a 5.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
good card.
Very good card. Disciple of the Old Ways. I like this card quite a bit.
I do too.
I like bears, and this one particularly has a very, very good ability. Granted, you have to put mana into it, but First Strike is very good.
Yeah, we're well into the age of ability bears.
Yeah.
Where they usually don't play. Just bears are pretty much unplayable,
right?
And bears with an ability, if it's relevant, are generally really playable.
Really good, yeah.
And this one's First Strike is definitely very relevant.
Definitely a Gruul card because of the activation being red.
Right.
So you're not going to really play in your Simic deck, but very good.
Yeah.
So next up we have one of the more hot cards, I guess, coming out of this set in terms of a lot of speculation. For 1-drop, we're talking about Experiment 1.
Yeah, I think this guy's very good. I know Cedric Phillips is really on top of this guy for humans.
Yeah,
because he's more champion of the parishes.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. The fact that he is a human is huge.
Right.
And then he has this slower regeneration thing, which is kind of nice.
Right, but I mean,
I don't think it'll come up that much, but
you play cards like Champion of the Parish that don't even have any effect.
Right.
And they're playable. So
Right.
I think this guy's like very good. And he seems good in like Naya decks too. Is like their own
Yeah,
personal
that's
Champion
where
of
I
the
want to
Parish.
try him out. Yeah, it's pretty much a good aggressive 1-drop for Naya.
Right, yeah, he doesn't have any clause where you need to play strictly humans. You can play whatever you want, as long as the creatures evolve, and you have a little bit of kill protection, some sweeper protection.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this guy's like very good and definitely constructive playable.
I agree. I think he's going to see a decent amount of play.
Yep.
Next up, we have one of the better enchantments, in my opinion.
Okay.
Forced Adaptation.
All right, yeah.
In limited, I'm saying. This isn't a constructed card, but it's 1 mana, so it's low risk, and then it just gets crazy with Simic. Especially with some of the rares and the uncommons for Simic, like the Manipulator that we saw earlier that you were a little low on, but you think of this card with that guy, now all of a sudden you guys
like in the discussion we were like, if everything around this card is good, then the card is good. And this is definitely one of those cards that helps it out a lot.
Exactly. It's absolutely bananas with Fathom Seer, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Turns into a personal Howling Mine. Which is crazy, but
yeah, this card seems fine. It seems totally playable.
They also have there's a couple guys like if you have an unblockable guy or a guy with flying, this gets better too. Right. Now you have a guy that is already good at evasion, and then you make him better and better every turn.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
Definitely very Simic.
Yeah.
This card's good in Simic decks.
Yep. Common too, so you can easily pick up a couple.
Oh, yeah.
And we have the last, no, that's not the Avatar. Yeah, it is actually, right?
No. This is just another generic.
Oh, yes, another 7-mana guy.
Giant Adaphage, the green insect. Yeah, I like the artwork a lot. I think it's like wicked sweet, just a giant Starship Troopers bug.
Yeah, actually.
It's almost like the exact same bug.
Yeah, it is very similar.
Yeah, there's Rico when you need him.
The card itself, I'm not too excited about that.
It's pretty bland.
We've seen this kind of like duplicate thing before.
Like Essence of the Wild.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And he was an 8/8, right?
I think it's a 6/6, but he was cheaper.
Okay.
But he was triple green.
Okay.
Yeah, this card, like, it does snowball. Like, if you do start hitting your opponent, like, it's going to get out of control.
Right.
But unless... He's just too narrow. All he does is beat people's face. Like, he doesn't help you in any other way. Like, he's a big dude, 7/7, but it's, like, really single-minded, really linear.
Yeah.
7 mana.
I'd probably play him in a deck that I have at least some kind of ramp with some key runes or something.
Yeah.
Just because he's so powerful. That's one, like, that is a 1 top end.
Mm-hmm. I'm always really cautious with these, like, big monocolored 7-drops, especially in the standard format.
Yeah.
It's like, tap out 7-drop. Ultimate Price is, like, a very real card.
Yeah, and the fact that he is exactly monocolored.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see him seeing standard play.
Yeah, I don't... I feel like giant 7-mana, like, 7/7s, like, we've been pretty spoiled, but they need, like, an end of the battlefield effect. They need something else.
Something that does
push
something
them
right away.
Yeah, it's generally what the problem with Drogskull Reaver tends to have.
Like you read Drogskull Reaver and you're just like, holy crap, this guy's bananas.
Yeah, but you still got to hit with it.
Right.
Which is sometimes asking quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So moving on to Greenside Watcher, I guess the set Solana Elf kind of effect.
Another gate guy.
Yeah,
another gate-oriented.
Pretty limited.
Extremely limited.
So if you have some gates, he's not bad. The nice thing about him is he is a 2/1.
He's a bear. He's still a bear.
So I actually did play him. I need another low guy. Low mana cost guy, so he fit my curve.
He's like your 23rd card.
Exactly. He really was. I think he actually was the 23rd card.
Yeah, he just has a lot of curve.
I did have 2 gates, so like sometimes he was cool.
Yeah, sometimes.
But most of the time he just was a 2/1.
Yeah. Really not much to see.
Pretty much that's it.
Yep. So, Gyre Sage, a new the 2-drop evolve that's very Queen Dryad-esque.
Yeah, it gets bigger, but this one taps for mana though too.
Yeah, I really feel like that's not relevant at all.
Yeah, it'll come up like every now and then.
Yeah, like 2 mana for your mana dorks, like they need to produce way more mana.
Yeah, like Priest of Titania.
Priest of Titania or Durago Tree Speaker.
Right. Yeah.
Like you had to put 2 mana into that to get to level up, and then she was like making double green with like no other commitments. Like you need creatures to make this better. It's generally a bad top deck. It doesn't actually tap for any mana.
Yeah,
by
itself. Yeah, 0.
To me, it's more of a beater, like in an evolve curve.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll be able to play like your guild leader a little faster. Sometimes.
Right. Yeah, it's a little lame that this is a rare. Another one of the lame to open rares that we've seen.
Yeah.
We've seen a little bit more than normal in this set so far.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, really not much to say. It's a pretty boring card.
Yeah, I agree. Hindervines. Another combat trick.
Yeah. This seems good in Simic decks.
It's like a fog, but like worse than a fog.
No, it's better than a fog. When I'll find damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures with no plus. So like you swing in and they like make other blocks, and then
if you're playing it in Simic.
Yeah, if you're playing it in Simic.
Yeah, right.
Then you Hindervines them and you kill all their guys,
and
your guys live. Like it's a blowout.
Okay. Yeah.
It's probably one of the more stronger blowout cards.
Yeah, it's definitely narrow though. Like it only wants to be in Simic.
Yes, it's very very narrow.
So you're not gonna really. I mean, I guess you could play that in Gruul if like you're just like really late game Gruul to try to save time, but it doesn't feel.
Yeah, at worst it's still a
fog.
Still a fog, yeah.
Right.
But it's still at that point it's a 3-mana fog.
Yeah, 3-mana fog that you hope you're not playing against Simic.
Right. Yeah. If they have this can be like completely crushing.
Right. But pretty standard.
Yep.
Ivy Van. Let's see, what's this guy? Ivy Lane Denizen.
All right.
I got it right.
Yep. Yeah, this one's not that bad. It's pretty expensive for the effect.
Yeah, 4 mana.
Yeah. It's one of the better denizens. Generally, they don't do anything that's very permanent to the board state.
Yeah, right. This is one of the only ones that actually does.
But this one actually, in the long run, affects the board state.
Right.
So like I think at that point the ability's acceptable and good.
Yeah.
And the size like a 2/3 is fine. Then you really only concern is looking towards the mana cost.
Right.
And for 4 mana, it's a little high. It's really going to be coming down late. You're not going to get the effect too much more after that.
Yeah, you're pretty much going to be casting your good guys after them, which are already probably a decent power and toughness.
Right, and probably yeah. But generally, I think this is the best denizen.
Yeah, I like this one actually. Much better than the white. Like I feel like it's continually lasting. It makes your top deck set would be worse better because now your guys are beefed up by 1.
Yeah, not splashable at all, unfortunately, because even if it's easy to cast, you still need green creatures.
Yeah, you definitely want it in a heavy green deck.
Yeah, but otherwise, I think this card's pretty good.
Right.
I would definitely recommend it and like picking it up in drafts. Next up, we have Miming Slime.
It's not bad.
It's not that bad.
It's definitely a conditional card. I mean, it's only good when it's good.
Yeah.
And it's generally going to be in a deck where you have guys of substance.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could play it and get, like, something enormous.
Yeah.
Like, late game, it is pretty bomby.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this one is it's only creatures you control. So, like, if you're behind, it doesn't get you back in the game.
Right.
Like, if they have a 6/6 and you were able to copy their 6/6, now, okay, at least we're at parity again.
Right.
Where if they have a 6/6 and I have a 2/2, making a 2/2 doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything, no.
So.
But there are times where, like, they might have a 6/6 and you have a 4/4, and then you make another 4/4, and, like, suddenly you're in a position to win a race.
Right. So, definitely not bad, but conditional.
Yeah.
Naturalized for the 700th time.
I kind of like the artwork on this one.
Okay.
Otherwise, the effect is like, we got lots of this.
Yeah, we've seen this card 1,000 times. So,
is this the first one in this current standard format, or do we already?
It was
have
in standard before, but then it rotated out, I think, and then it back.
Okay.
I think so.
I mean, it's a nice catch-all, but I don't feel like enchantments are like that super prevalent.
Or artifacts, for that matter.
Right, and if you want to be like more narrow, you can be much more efficient. Like if you want to hit enchantments, you have Ray and you have Ancient Grudge.
Right.
For artifacts. Yeah. This is a nice catch-all to get both, but artifacts are like really not prevalent at all.
Yeah, really small selection. Like you're gonna get some key runes.
Maybe a Rune Chainer's Pike.
Yeah, Pike still sees play definitely.
But there's much better ways to combat those cards.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget we still have Abrupt Decay, even though it doesn't see a ton of standard play.
Right.
It's a much better answer to Rune Chainer's Pike.
Yeah, so like to me it feels like the enchantment clause is much better, and unfortunately like it totally competes with
you might as well just play red.
Red Revelation, yeah. And if you're not playing white and you're like red-green, I guess this is fine.
No, that's your sideboard slot, definitely.
Yeah, I guess this is fine, but the way mana is, like, you can easily play 3 colors these days.
Right. Next up we have Ooze Flux, another enchantment. A lot of enchantments in this set.
Yes, there is. To me, that's like a... wonder if the next blocks would be much more enchantment-oriented.
Maybe some, like, enchantment lords kind of thing, like that.
Something.
You know, like enchantresses, or Gothian enchantress or something.
If there's one thing I don't want Magic to get more of, is cards for Enchantress.
Yeah, I agree.
That deck is a pain.
It is annoying.
Yeah, but this card I do not like. Too much work.
Yeah, it is. You're going to put some time into it to really start getting some effect.
Yeah, it's like super commitment too, because then you so you make like this giant dude.
Right.
And then it dies. And then like suddenly all your like I guess evolve guys who now have got their +1/+1s removed.
Yeah.
Now they're tiny again.
Now they're tiny again. You got to spend time making them better again.
Right, like you put all this work into your evolve guys to make them good in the first place. Why would you want to make them bad suddenly again? Just to put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Like let your evolve guys be evolved.
Yeah.
They'll do their job just fine.
I agree. Yeah.
And for 4 mana, it's not.
The only time I see this like being good, like you wish you had it on the battlefield, is when somebody goes to like kill your guy, because then you can like instant speed like whoop, make a guy.
Yeah, sure,
but most of the time it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, for 4 mana, I don't think it's even going to be that like super relevant.
Yeah, another bulk rare.
Yeah, Predator's Rapport.
I'm not usually a big fan of these kind of effects.
No, like.
I mean, sometimes they help you in a race, but
it'll help you in a race.
I just want a removal or a creature at this point.
Like, to me, this is like because this is in green is why I don't like it. If this was like a white card, I'd be much more inclined to be on its side.
Yeah.
But because it's in green, it's already like in the aggressive color.
Right.
So and it's like a very non-aggressive card.
No, not at all. It's clearly like I'm trying to survive card.
Right. So that's why I'd rather it be in white. More Orzhov-y.
Right.
But in green, it's like I'm already like beating your face, and like I probably don't need this effect.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's good in the mirror matches, but to me, the mirror matches seem much more like you can just play better, and like get your opponent in combat, and like the combat tricks are way more useful because like they make trades favorable.
Yeah.
They kill the opponent faster. Right. Like Blood Rush is great in green.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you should play this card. I really don't. I don't think it's worth the slot, and
I'd much rather be more aggressive in my green strategies.
100%.
Than more defensive.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like the wrong direction.
Yeah. I do like the Saber-Tooth Tiger, though. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. That is pretty sweet. That's a big Tesla.
It's a huge Saber-Tooth Tiger.
That is very large.
Next up, we have Rust Scarab. Really like this guy.
Okay.
4/5. That's a good-sized creature.
Yeah.
And it has a relevant ability, especially in the limited format. With this, because we've seen so many enchantments, he's going to get value sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a huge amount that are, like, very playable. But
still playing, though.
The ones that are playable are very, very good.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, this guy's fine. He's still, like, a giant guy.
Right.
No matter what.
And he also triggers Simic really well because of his 4/5 body.
Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah, I guess I'm pretty on board with this guy.
Yeah.
Next up is Scab Clan Charger, our first Centaur.
Yeah, and our first green Blood Rush.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. I like it. Like +2/+4 is like a pretty big pump spell. Like I just think it's pretty big for 2 mana. It seems fine. Like it's a little low on the power side for 2 mana.
Right. This is definitely a more defensive one. Most of the red ones we've seen are like very skewed to offense. Mm-hmm. This is one of the ones that's definitely skewed to defense. Like to save your guy, make a trade. Your guy lives. Yeah.
This also, like, while it is very defensive, it feels like a more offensive pump spell to me too, because it's like the one you don't mind using to get damage in.
Right. Yeah. You want to hold back your 5/1 Blood Rush.
Right.
This is like Blood Rush you'll use early to kill a guy, get it out of the way.
Just to move it from the table.
Right.
And at worst, it's like a 2/4 for 4, which is also like not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But like at that point, you are being pretty defensive, and I've already explained how I don't like playing that kind of strategy in
green. Yeah.
In this green.
Yeah. So next up we have Serene Remembrance. another like graveyard hoser, but sorcery speed.
This to me, this does nothing. I think this card is almost like entirely unplayable in every aspect.
Yeah, I don't really quite understand this card because we have so much better effects that do the same thing, like Tormod Script.
Yeah, definitely in a constructed standpoint, this card is never going to get played.
Yeah, you're just not going to play it.
The fact that it's a sorcery is
awful,
extremely hindering.
Right. So
nope.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Next up is Scarred Goliath, and I am pretty against this artwork. The pre-release version is much better in my opinion.
Okay.
Like you can see there's like a hulky thingy with like a vein going up his face.
Yeah, he's got a giant neck going on. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a Ravnica monster or a Gruul monster nonetheless. Like I expect things to be running around on all fours or have horns or something. This looks like an experiment.
Yeah, it looks like a Hulk creature. You're right.
Yeah.
What about the card itself? 8 mana, 9/9.
Trample. Okay, like it's really expensive.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive.
So is the Blood Rush.
Yeah, 7 for Blood Rush.
But like, I mean, you win the game if you Blood Rush this, right? How do you lose when you do something +9/+9 and trample?
Yeah, I would still take the other rare Blood Rush guy, the Double Strike we saw yesterday. Was much better.
I think I'd rather have like 3 of the Centaurs than one Goliath.
Yeah, I agree.
I think to me, it's just like too expensive and aggressive strategy that's trying to end the game quick.
Yeah.
Like I don't see you getting up to this many land drops very frequently.
No, and there just isn't that much ramp to play a ramp deck. You know what I mean? Like some other formats, you can play a ramp deck, get a bunch of artifact accelerators and maybe a few rampant growth effects, and now you can play a bunch of 6, 7, 8 mana drop guys.
Yeah.
But this isn't that format.
Yeah, no more 7 drop drafting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty low on that guy.
Yeah.
So next up we have Slaughterhorn. This guy's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I like this guy a lot.
Uncounterable, instant speed, almost giant growth.
Yeah, almost giant growth, exactly. And his regular stats are quite good, too.
Yeah, he's fine.
3/2 for 3.
Yeah.
Seems good.
Yeah. I would definitely sandbag this one to Blood Rush, though. The Blood Rush seems much better.
Yeah, the Blood Rush seems better, but I mean, if you need a guy, you need a guy.
Yeah, if you need a guy, you need a guy.
But this is exactly what we're talking about with the aggressive green strategy. It's like 100% that card.
Yes.
So it epitomizes that. I do like the artwork as well.
Yeah.
Next up we have Spire Tracer. I'm actually really high on this guy.
Really?
Yeah. But only in the right deck. I think you played in Simic, not Gruul.
Okay.
Mainly because you can have all these counter movers and counter enchantments like that one we saw before. The 1 mana is crazy on him. Like turn 1 that, turn 2 that enchantment. That's like a really fast clock.
Yeah. Sure.
And he's almost unblockable.
Yes.
Like we've essentially seen this guy in the Slippery Boggle deck, right? So like
yes, Ledgewalker.
Right. I mean, granted, Ledgewalker is better, but he costs 1 more as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's fine. Like, he's still a 1/1 for 1 at the end of the day. Right.
Yeah, it's a conditional excitement on my part, but like if you're already leaning towards that deck where you know you have a lot of +1/+1 counter effects, I think his value gets pretty high.
I mean, he's good with Blood Rush too. Like
he is.
Like a 1/1, like I can't block it anyway. Like let it through, whatever, and then +5/+1. Like,
Yeah, he almost is like a slow bleed for the first part of the game, and then maybe he actually kills at the end.
Okay.
So you can throw a bunch of Blood Rush on him.
I guess I can get behind this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sure.
Look at that. Switch you around.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the green avatar I thought was earlier. So this is the last of the avatars.
Yes. Sylvan Primordial.
Yeah. We're still low on these guys, but this one I think is the best one in my opinion.
Okay.
It's kind of like a Woodfall Primus, but worse.
Sure. So like you get 1 for each player.
Right. Instead of like a repeatable thing with the persist from Woodfall Primus back in the day. Granted, Woodfall Primus was cheaper too, right?
Yes.
Triple green.
Yes. But I thought he was like 6.
Yeah. And I think he was like a 6/6 or 5/5.
I want to say 6/6.
Yeah. So, I mean, compared to those two next to each other, I don't really think it's a competition. I mean, in EDH, seems pretty awesome because now you blow up their most problematic permanent.
Right. Yeah. I still think these guys are too small, though.
We've already talked about the avatars. They kind of suck.
Like 6'8"?
Yeah, what can we do?
7?
And he's got reach. Like, can you maybe have, like, reach and trample? Like, really? Just give him something.
I think he needs to be pushed a little bit more.
Yeah. So, whatever.
Next up, we have Tower Defense.
So yeah, flying hoser essentially.
Yeah, another like super defensive card.
Yeah, which is odd, but
I guess it's okay.
I do like it as like it is all your guys.
Yes.
Which is not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I don't feel like it does enough.
It's very meh.
I feel like if you're in the aggressive green strategy, you should be able to race some flyers.
Yes.
And
well, the flyers are generally like really small, and if you're an aggressive green, your guys are probably pretty big.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, I don't think you really need to like, oh, I gotta play D now and like hold back from my tower defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
This feels more like a plan for like future drafting, because this seems like okay against Azorius.
Yeah. Once we add Azorius into the mix now there's more and more flyers.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've already outlined their drafting strategies. Like when Dragon's Maze comes out, it's 1-on-1, so they're definitely planning ahead for that.
Yeah.
In these sets.
Okay.
Card gets better then, but as of right now, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not constructed playable either. Like, you might as well just play a stuff that kills all flyers, like a hurricane effect.
Yeah, that's much better.
So, next up we have Verdant Haven, another enchantment.
Yes, another enchant land,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is not awful. It's one of the few, like, ramp kind of cards.
Yeah, I like this one, actually.
Mana fixing, which is good.
Mana fixing lets you splash a lot of stuff. The card itself is splashable. And you gain a little bit of life, so it's not like you're totally time locking yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I really don't mind this card that much.
Yeah, I think it's dependent on your deck. If you're going to go like a little deeper and try to do like a 3/4 color, like brew in your limited deck with like, maybe you get like a bunch of bombs, but they're across a bunch of colors.
Yeah, you'll definitely want some Verdant Havens.
This is exactly the card you want. But if you're in like a straightforward Gruul strategy, this just slows you down.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Next up, we have Wasteland Viper. Another Blood Rush.
Yeah.
Not a bad one.
Very good, I think.
Yeah.
The fact that he gives Death Touch with his Blood Rush is really sweet.
Yes.
And you can't ignore Death Touch guys, especially like 1-mana guys that can get down early. They just stonewall you. Like,
oh yeah,
it's just like okay, I guess I can't attack for a little while.
I played my fair share of Typhoid Rats.
Yeah, they do their job, and this guy is vastly superior to Typhoid Rats.
Oh,
he's a 1/2
quite,
and he's a built-in trick. Like,
yeah, he pushes a little damage.
Yeah,
as well. Like,
and he don't forget he combos incredibly good with Pit Fight, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, all right.
So,
all right.
He's essentially like a hardcore removal at that point. Well,
yeah, good card.
Seems very good. Wildwood Rebirth. We've seen this exact card called Regrowth before.
Yeah, well, this is just a creature, right? Was Regrowth creature?
Oh, Regrowth, any card, better.
Yeah, Regrowth is the best one, right? Out of all these effects. You might be thinking of Reclaim.
Reclaim is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
More modern one.
I guess this is okay. Never really high on this effect. It is instant, which is like pretty
yeah,
good.
that's the only like consideration like I have for it is the instant speed. Like you can get a little tricky with it and end of turn, bring back a guy.
Yeah, generally you don't want to like keep time locking yourself with these kind of effects and limited.
Right.
But like this way you can pass the turn, keep a Blood Rush if you have to.
Yeah.
And then if they don't do anything, you get to get something back at the end of the turn. You can be much more efficient with your mana instead of just throwing it away almost.
Yeah, don't forget that Blood Rush is only attacking guys. You can't use it as like a straight giant growth.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So,
sure.
I do like it with Blood Rush guys though, because you can almost like ditch them earlier than you normally would. And then,
this also gets back anything with Blood Rush.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah,
so if you have like the 5/1 guy, the 5/1 Blood Rush guy, now you can like smash, get in there for an additional 5, and then end a turn, bring it back, and then next turn hit again. Seems pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
yeah, I'm a little more sold on that idea.
So I think it's probably best in the like hardcore Blood Rush Gruul strategy.
Okay.
I think is my early estimate.
Yep. And,
so that wraps up green.
Yep, that's green, and now we're gonna move into Gruul.
So this is the first multicolor we have. So do you want to start with the Planeswalker? You want to start him off right away?
Sure. He's a little separated from the rest of the pack, but he has Gruul colors.
He has Gruul colors. So we're going to talk about him in Gruul.
Yeah. So sure. Domri Raid. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
If I had to give like right off the bat opinion.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. I think he's not great, but I think he's good in decks that can use him.
Yeah, you need to build your deck very specifically.
Yeah, you want to be running like 25 plus creatures. Like,
yeah, which is asking a lot, but I mean, if Blood Rush does become a constructed thing, and some of them aren't that bad.
No, some are definitely playable.
They work excellently with Domri. You have to keep playing spells, but you can also draw them.
It's an interesting effect for green to have, it's really green-red to have a card advantage, a card draw effect.
Potential one, yeah.
Yeah, even though it's, it's limited, but it's still pretty strong.
Yeah, it definitely goes with how you want to be building your decks.
Yeah,
like those strategies want creatures, so like the conditionalness is
he fits in.
It fits.
He's a 3-mana planeswalker, so you can't just rule him out. Like he's. You have to consider him.
Historically, they've been really good.
Right.
His -2, right?
Yeah, -2. Yep.
I feel is very not that relevant.
It's okay. I think it's also conditional upon your deck. Like if you're on I could say like if you're on like a Naya aggro deck and you can play him.
I love doing it with Lockstone Spiders.
Yeah, so you can do like Lockstone Spiders is exactly what I was thinking of because now when they fight, he should take down most things.
Yes, 4/4. Like his Lockstone Spider is really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his emblem is Nick 7.
It's gonna win you the game.
It's gonna win the game, but it's also like not gonna win you the game if they have Wrath right away, because then you have to like play a new guy.
Yeah, but everything you play after that's like
it does have haste.
Ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah. It essentially wins you the game if you like.
It's just not. It could be right away. It could be that turn you ultimate.
Right.
Or it could be in a few turns.
The advantage it gives you is gonna like grind them out no matter what.
Yeah. So out of the three, the +1 is really the most relevant. Like,
yeah.
Because it's going to be 4 turns unanswered before you can even ultimate, because he starts at 3 loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about Planeswalker emblems, but like they're designed to like blow the game wide open.
Right. Yeah. Anytime you've ultimated Tameo, it's like you just scoop at that point. It's like it's almost impossible to lose.
Yeah, there's very few Planeswalker ultimates that do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's good. I think he's a card to watch. As always with Planeswalkers, they're always like the most expensive at release, and then they come down to reality a little.
I think he's playable, but the deck that he has to be in might not be playable.
Yeah, we got to see what kind of comes out of this. It's like you can really build like a Gruul aggro deck.
Yeah, it's a very linear strategy to make Domri work efficiently.
Right.
And that strategy just might not fit in the metagame.
It might not. Yeah, you're right.
So, like, while Domri could be an excellent card or, like, very, very good in that deck, if the deck itself just doesn't work, then you can't really play Domri.
Do you think he's good enough in older formats, like possibly Modern? I don't see him in Legacy because Green-Red's not the best.
Yeah, there's really not, like, any kind of good Green-Red aggressive strategy, and I feel Modern, the format goes too over the top of Domri.
Yeah.
Like, you play a Domri, and you're like, oh, cool, I drew a creature, and you're like, Karn.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to be down to earth and linear and try to play as fair as, because Domri's a very fair card.
Yeah, very fair.
Domri wants to play a fair game, and Modern is like really swingy. Like there's fair decks, but also extremely large amounts of unfair decks.
Yeah.
So like he can be vastly like overshadowed.
Right. So, yeah, I don't think he makes the cut for Modern. I hope I'm proved wrong because
definitely.
It would be sweet to see another cheap Planeswalker in Modern because. Honestly, like Liliana's probably the only real played one. And
but she's very, very good.
She's awesome
because she attacks from more than one angle.
Exactly.
But Domri's like strictly one angle.
Yeah.
Replacement for Bloodbraid Elf?
I don't want to talk about it.
Anyway,
all right. So we're gonna go into the Gruul now. So we have the new Borborgamos. This is the Borborgamos Enraged.
Is that how you say it?
That is how I say it. You say it.
I could not say this name for the longest time, but I think it's Borborygmus.
Ooh, that actually sounds good.
Or Borborygmos.
Okay.
It's really hard to like get that early start to like roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
But like once it makes sense after that.
Yeah. I've always said it wrong. I know I have because I've always added an A right after the G.
Yeah, no, I was saying it wrong too.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even get through the word. Like
So he's pretty crazy. Like his effect is really cool.
Yeah, seismic assault.
Yeah.
I could see like him being in a strict reanimator deck.
Right.
So it's like based around like land drops. Like to me, you can combo this card in my opinion because like you mill it out, like you pull out some mulches and Tracker's Instinct and stuff, and you like Unburial Rites Barbaricness into play, and then you like Creeping Renaissance lands. Like that hits lands, right?
I gotta check, but yeah, I think so.
So if you Creeping Renaissance lands, you might get like I don't know however many lands you might have milled in the process, and you can probably just kill them.
But also you're playing a deck with mulch, so you're already
you're also gonna have
lands.
What you need to make land drops to play this guy. He's cost quite a bit.
Yeah, he's 8 mana. I mean.
Yeah, and like Creeping Renaissance has flashback too.
Okay.
Yeah, so like even if you mill it, you don't care.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like a really, really, really bad life from a long strategy.
Yeah. Obviously, you can do this in Modern much more efficiently with actual Seismic Assault.
Yeah, but to me, like, this guy is never going to be a situation where you're playing him and then tapping him sideways to kill your opponent. It's like you're playing him and you're hopefully going to, like, blow them out with discarding, like, a ton of lands. Like, that's the most efficient way, in my opinion, to use him.
Yeah, and he might actually get in one swing for the win or something. Like, you knock him down with a bunch of lands, maybe remove a couple problematic guys.
Yeah, the discarding a land is not conditional at all.
Right.
So like you can still get a sweet attack in, and he's got trample, so he's almost guaranteed to connect.
Right.
And get his other effect, which is going to make this discard a land like.
I would be pretty sweet to see him in a reanimation strategy.
Yeah, got to look into that Creeping Renaissance.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
That seems pretty sweet. Next up, we have a very playable card, Clan Defiance.
So first off, we're in the multicolored cards, so obviously we're going to see a higher caliber card.
Right. This is like where they're.
This is where the constructed pretty much comes from. Like So.
Clan Defiance.
Yeah, really good.
New Bonfire of the Damned.
I don't think it's New Bonfire. I don't think it's that good.
Oh, I don't mean like. I think it's better than Bonfire.
Some people do. I haven't. I got to cast it a few times to see what happens. But
you need to be proof that 3-for-1s are sweet.
I do. I do.
Yeah, I don't mean like strictly like the same card as Bonfire, but I mean, like, I hope he doesn't top deck that Bonfire or Miracle that Bonfire. Like, you're gonna be in the same like, he doesn't have Clan Defiance. Like,
it's a pretty disgusting spell. They've definitely been like giving red and green some like disgusting spells lately. So
yeah, they're definitely pushing the color combination, and like, I mean, this card's a 3-for-1.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Yeah. Like, and it's super easy to cast, super cheap. And, like, you're almost going to get a ton of value. Like, this card is good.
Yeah, no, it seems good. The only thing is, like, it is sorcery, so you have to, like, tap all your mana that turn. But you usually, will have a big enough effect that it's,
it's totally worth it.
You're way ahead.
It's totally worth it.
So, yeah, seems good. I'm not sure where it's going to land. I don't think it's in my Naya deck at this point. I think Aurelia's Fury is much better for my Naya deck. And Bonfire. I would still prefer both over this. But if a Gruul deck like comes out of this into Standard, I do think it becomes in that deck.
This just feels much better than Bonfire because Bonfire you need to Miracle it to get like the kind of effect that would match up with Clan Defiance. Like a Clan Defiance in your hand is worth like 2 Bonfires in the yard or whatever. Like it's kind of crappy analogy.
I still don't agree because if Bonfire has like these weird scenarios where low mana bonfires for one are crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like if somebody's playing Lingering Souls, it's just like bonfire for one, like kill you.
Well, I know, and like one of my most recent articles I've already talked about how Lingering Souls is kind of lately. So like to me I feel like you're begging for that to happen to you. Like you're making your opponent's deck better by playing.
That's the ideal scenario, but
yeah, but like think about like low mana curve, it's like to Bonfire for one, that's what, 3?
Yeah.
So like you can do almost the same thing with Clan Defiance. Like you kill one thing, ping them, and hit another thing, right? But like it ramps up drastically, like up the scale.
Yeah.
Like say you want to do 4.
Yeah.
How much mana is that from hand for a Bonfire?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's not even castable from hand.
Yeah. But like this is like a 6 mana spell that you're probably playing with Arbor Elves in your deck or like some kind of mana dorks. It's very easy to cast, and it's going to do a ton of damage.
Okay.
Like, it seems like a great response to Thragtusk if you don't have Skullcrack.
Yeah.
Like, you kill the Thragtusk and through the face, they only gain 2.
Yeah.
Like, that seems pretty solid to me. I think this card is very good.
We'll see.
Well, hopefully.
So next up we have Frenzied Tilling. I really like the name of this card and the artwork. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of the effect too. Like you set them back and you put yourself further ahead.
Yeah. We've had there was a card like this before in Time Spiral, I believe. Something Acid Moss. It was like this weird name, but it was the same exact effect. It was destroy land and get yourself land.
Okay.
It was double green spell.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a more modern version of it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a cool idea. It might be like if like the format slows down, which usually doesn't happen when you have more of a set. Usually format speeds up.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like speculatively, if the format slows down and goes to more of like a crazy mana base format where everybody's doing like, 3 minimum colors, possibly doing 5 colors.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can see this card being a sideboard card because, you're going this like, you're essentially playing a control on control match where you're land value time. We're just like, I gotta hit all my land drops, and if I don't hit a land drop, it's awful.
Sure, but I mean, I guess the problems I have with that is, one, it's red-green, so it doesn't scream control to me.
Yeah, this is like, I'm talking like, you're in a 4 or 5 color deck now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the cost is.
2, like if it's a control versus control, like this game's going to go super long, so you're going to make tons of land drops anyway.
Right.
So like, I don't think it's a drop in the bucket to me.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to get them off a color, but standard is way too efficient. Like,
yeah,
everyone's got like doubling up on
too good. Yeah,
like you're not gonna get them off their black swords because 2 of the 3 other shock lands also tap for black at the same time. And like because it's a basic land, like if it was any land,
if you could get more dual lands with it would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I feel like I like the effect, but I feel like it's too narrow and too expensive.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done like a land type clause on that and still been the same mana.
Yeah, this also could have definitely been mana cheaper.
Yeah, with the basic land, it could have been 4 mana because the old one was 4 mana and it was just green. So I don't see how they made it more expensive and harder to cast.
Right.
Next up, we have probably the best Blood Rush guy. In my opinion.
I could agree with that.
So we have Gore Clan Rampager.
Yep. A Balrog from Morgoth.
Yeah, very, very close. Very close.
This is a strictly better Colossal Might.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a little harder to cast than Colossal Might, but uncounterable Colossal Might seems totally worth it.
It wasn't Colossal Might red-green?
Oh, I'm thinking of the 4 mana green one. I'm sorry. The 4 ++ green one.
Oh, the one I'm thinking of is Colossal Might, right?
Yeah, you're talking about the +4 +2, right?
In Trample.
Yeah.
Like this gets +2 more toughness and uncounterability.
Yeah. No, you're totally right.
And he's a 4/4 Trample for 4 if you have to play him, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, this guy is totally playable in Standard, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I've already seen deck lists coming out from like some top players, like Patrick Chapin, like has replaced Huntmaster with this guy.
Really?
Yeah, which I don't agree with, but he has. He's really high on this guy.
Yeah.
And he's nasty. I mean, he's essentially the flip side of Huntmaster already.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
4/4 trample. So.
All right. Okay. Yeah. No, this guy's good. If you're looking for a red-green aggressive strategy in Standard, I would definitely consider this guy if you weren't already. Next up, we have Ground Assault. I don't see this card really going much places.
Yeah, it's just way better removal. It's sorcery speed and just triggers off your lands.
Definitely needs to be instant.
Yeah, if it was instant, maybe we'd consider it. It doesn't go to the face.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna keep saying this, but like the green strategies feel like there's 2 different kinds of them, and like the aggressive version of the strategy is much better.
Yeah.
Than the make your land drops, play lots of expensive stuff strategy.
Right.
Which this definitely fits in. Like lots of land drops. This will do a ton of damage. Whatever.
I mean, this is totally playable limited though. It's very good limited. Like the format's slow enough where you're going to be able to get 4, 5, 6 damage off of this.
Yeah, removal spells have a much lower acceptance line in limited because they're few and far between.
Right.
Overall, not much else to say about the card.
Yeah.
Next up is a Gruul Charm.
Yeah, I don't really like this charm. It gets outclassed by most of the other charms, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely the worst one.
I mean, it's fine. Like, you'll play it in a limited sideboard. Like, it's almost that bad. It's very good when you can sweep the air with it.
Yeah, it's definitely more Lingering Souls hate when it's unnecessarily.
Yeah, I don't know.
More. And one of the modes is almost like completely irrelevant.
Yeah, the gain control of all permanents you own.
But yeah, that's almost like entirely irrelevant in quite a bit of things.
Yeah.
It could come up in limited when they're playing, active treasons.
Yeah, there's, or it's like the control magic guy, the Simic manipulator. Like,
yeah, sure.
But it's so narrow, man. Like compared to the other charms, like the other charms have at least two modes which are really relevant and really flexible, and the third mode is sometimes good. But this one's like all three of them are like pretty narrow.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking with this charm. Like they made Boros charm like ludicrous, and they made Gruul charm pretty bad.
I would have been more happy if it was just Pyroclasm.
Yeah, like in this format could use a Pyroclasm effect. Like
yes,
So
it would have been a pretty good sideboard card at that point.
Unfortunately, as I like those colors. Pretty disappointed. So next,
Gruul Rage Beast.
Another 7-drop.
Another 7-drop. I think this guy's extremely good in Commander.
Okay.
I don't play Mael, but I think this goes into Mael.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
Like everything fights everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't like about it is it's not under your control. Like it is, but it's not. It's not a May. Like you have to fight.
Okay. Yeah.
Like there'll be points where you're going to lose the fight because of this card.
Okay. Yeah. Generally you guys are pretty big in that kind of a strategy anyway.
Yeah, you're usually playing all like big beefy guys, but there's a point where somebody will have, a Darksteel Colossus, where you're going to get outclassed.
Yeah. So, I just imagine like blinking this guy over and over.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even trigger off just him, it's any creature.
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Overall, not much else to say. Yeah. It's not going anywhere in terms of constructed.
No, not at all. Primal Visitation. Another enchantment.
Way too expensive.
Way too expensive. +3/+3 in haste.
Not good enough for the price.
Yeah, like you think about the scenario where you have to have enough mana to play a guy and then have enough left over, exactly 5, to play this on the guy.
For the haste to be relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like it's just not
extremely ridiculous. Like the only reason the other enchantments we said have been like kind of playable in limited is because they're so cheap.
So cheap.
Yeah. And like at this point you're begging to get like murdered, like blown out of the game.
You're gonna like do this on a 2/2? Like what the heck? You're like, okay.
Yeah. The haste is like completely irrelevant. Yeah. Like,
so I don't know.
The card's bad.
Pretty lame.
No dice.
Rumble Hulk though is interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is like strictly Blood Rush guy, right?
Yeah, his Blood Rush is like one of the more aggressively costed ones for such a powerful effect. 3 mana for his Blood Rush. Granted it's scalable depending on what time of the game it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty strong effect.
Yeah, this guy scales pretty decent too in terms of like power and toughness himself.
Yeah.
But again, that's that whole like land strategy in red green.
Yeah, this is again in that. The nice thing about him is he can kind of fit in either one, and he fits in the aggressive one just fine.
Yeah, and then the land strategy is like pretty meh. Like there's better 6-drops you can play in those.
Yeah,
in those strategies.
Yep. I do like this artwork better than the pre-release.
I agree. Next up is Ruination Worm. Another 6-drop in Gruul colors.
Yep.
This one does nothing. 7/6.
It's just totally vanilla, 7/6. It's essentially Scaled Worm from Ice Age.
Yep.
Exactly that.
It's a creature if you have to play creature, like if you need one more card for your deck.
Yeah. But
otherwise, he has 0 applications.
Yeah.
Next up is Signal the Clans. We've talked about this card.
We have talked about this card. I feel like this card is still hard to evaluate. Like,
yeah.
You read it initially and you think like El Madri's Call and like, ooh, green getting like instant speed search for like a guy I need. But then you like really read it and you go, ooh, man, it's like not that at all.
I hope I get
the guy I want. And you're forced to like, it'd be one thing if you could like just stack it and like get 3 of the same guy. Be like, oh, I want 3 Huntmasters. Oh, I got a Huntmaster. Hey, look at that.
No, they don't even let you do that.
They force you to get 3 different ones. And, okay, say if I'm talking about my Naya deck, okay, I'll get a Huntmaster or a Restoration Angel and like maybe a Thundermore Hellkite.
Yeah.
But that's like a deal situation. Like, I just happen to have those 3 left in my deck, and I have the time, the ability.
I mean, I guess in that situation it seems okay because it's like you're getting pretty much
a value guy no matter what.
Right, something that's going to pull you out of whatever situation you're in or put you further ahead.
Yeah.
It is instant for 2 mana. Like I feel like this card needs to be played a little bit.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like a little hard to evaluate without really getting some games in.
Yeah, I feel like it has potential for both directions.
Okay.
But it needs to be tested.
Yeah, my initial impression is it's going to be just down. But I want to be proved wrong because if I do get that effect in my green deck, I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah. Do they go to the bottom of your deck or to your graveyard?
Bottom, I believe.
Shovel the rest into your library.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoveled in.
Yeah. It needs to be tested. It has potential to be pretty good, but also pretty crappy.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Scarred Guildmage, the Gruul Guildmage.
Yeah, first Guildmage.
And this guy seems bananas to me.
Yeah, most of the Guildmages have been pretty good.
Yes. This is the first one we've gone to.
This is the first one we've talked about, yeah. This one has almost a Koth kind of effect. The second one there?
Right, yes.
Yeah, I mean...
this guy seems like very, very good in Limited.
Yeah, really good in Limited.
And to the point where I think he's almost constructed capable.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
He's really cheap, and like if you have the mana, which we do now, to play him on curve, he's really, really cheap, and like giving everything trample for 2 mana is crazy.
Yeah, and you're thinking like in those colors, like, you got to go with the first thought is Thragtusk, but like giving Thragtusk trample is pretty sweet.
Yeah, getting you more value out of the guy.
Yeah, that's why you run Wolf Run anyways, is to like give those guys trample.
Yeah, this is like a trample for your whole team.
Right.
Yeah, which is like pretty sweet, and like it's very Raging Ravine on the other ability.
Yeah,
that's what makes me think of, which is like super aggressive.
And the nice thing too is like the Guildmages don't have to tap, so if you have the mana, then you can just like go all in and like make like animated land and give trample. Go crazy.
Yeah, I think this guy's pretty good.
Yeah, he might just see some play. I agree.
It's another good card with Domri, in my opinion. Because like if you flip this Domri, you have a lot of utility in the card.
Yeah, you're forced to go all creatures, but you still need some kind of like tricks. You can't just play all like bears.
Because it's like super linear with all creatures. Your creatures need to do good stuff.
Right, you need to do some tricks.
And historically, those haven't been accessible. Like those haven't really existed.
No.
But in this set, like they've printed a lot of really good green-red creatures that do more than one thing.
Yep.
I mean, like we don't even play spells anymore. Like we just play creatures that have spells attached to them.
Yeah, it's a weird like standard we live in where like our lands do things now, our creatures are spells. Like you can almost play a spellless spell deck.
And like the instants and sorceries are done something.
Yeah. Or insane ones like Bonfire
or Aurelia's Fury.
Aurelia's Fury. So like it's almost like weird spectrum now.
Yeah.
But
the creatures are winning.
Yeah, really are.
Next up we have Zertas Wine. I like the flavor of this card.
Yeah, big giant pig, big giant boar.
Yep. The Blood Rush is pretty sweet.
Yeah, the Blood Rush is aggressively costed. +5/+4.
Yeah. For 3, like this is a guy that I'll play strictly for the Blood Rush, for the pump effect, and even then, there's like better versions of this pump. This kind of size.
I play him out as a body. 5 mana for a 5/4.
Thunder Hellkite.
Yeah, well, I'm saying this is a limited card, not a...
strictly speaking, limited, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to give the multicolor cards a little more.
You think he's good enough for constructed though?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he is.
Yeah, he doesn't make the cut.
5 mana, he's never gonna get played.
No, and if you're gonna play him for the Blood Rush, you might as well just play one of the other guys we've already talked about,
which is you generally have better Blood Rushes.
Much better. So next up we have Burning Tree Emissary. Pretty cool card.
Yeah, you've had experience with this one in Limited.
I did. Most of the time, if you're going to cast him on 2, he just is a bear.
Mm-hmm.
But if your deck is constructed in a way where you can really take advantage of it, it becomes like just breakout gross. Like there was a scenario where my opponent cast this and then used the mana off the Burning Tree Emissary to cast the enchantment we talked about that we both liked that gives +3. Madcap skills, thank you. So like he had a 5/2 almost unblockable guy on turn 2.
Yeah.
I obviously died. It was crazy.
I could also see like ridiculous situations where you play this into the Guildmage
Yeah,
And then, like, you're giving anything trample.
The most I got out of it was I played him in another guy. Like, I just did that to another guy.
Yeah, and even that's, like, fine.
Yeah, it's almost like a pseudo, like, cascade kind of feel. Like, you just do, like, like a value thing, but you get to choose.
Yeah.
So
I want this guy to be constructed playable, but a lot of the 2-drops that you would play afterwards, like, that you would make a use out of the mana, aren't red-green friendly.
Yeah, like this would be like really crazy if it created like hybrid, like 2 hybrids.
Crazy.
Because then you could be like Stranglerootgeist.
Yeah, like you could play Stranglerootgeist, you could play Ash Zealot, like Noble.
Yeah.
Or like 2 mana dorks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they probably thought of that because of his mana cost being hybrid. Almost usually they'll reflect that in the ability, but they must have thought like, whoa, yep, that's too crazy.
That would be too crazy.
Let's scale that back.
In standard, you'd be playing this and you'd be using like 1 of the mana.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I guess is not bad because like you're still like
it's still fine
up in mana, but again you need your 2-drops to do a little bit more.
Yeah. Pit fight.
Everybody loves a good pit fight. Yeah,
this is I think this is a great card. The fact that we now have this effect, which is a newer effect since Innistrad.
Yeah.
That we've seen a bunch of times now, but we've only seen it at sorcery. This is the first one we've seen really instant.
Yeah, I feel like they're playing with this card.
Yeah.
Like they're playing with this effect. They're like, all right, let's try it instant.
Yeah, how much can we push it?
For 1 more mana? Like, this might be too expensive.
Yeah.
Like, it might be totally, like, okay to print that at 1. Like, instant speed.
I don't know about that one.
Well, I mean, they're trying to play with the fight mechanic in general.
I could see it maybe if it was a solid color, not like 1 hybrid mana.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like just 1 green.
Yeah, if it was green or just red, one or the other.
Right.
I think it's still finally costed at 2.
Definitely another card I want to play with Loxodon Smiter.
Yeah, right. It becomes crazy.
He's like the best fight target.
He really is. So, yeah, it's a cool card. Bananas Unlimited. Possible constructed card.
Possible. I feel like the burn spells are still better.
Yeah, because of just the versatility of 3 of the face.
Yes.
So we have the last Gruul card.
Yep.
Is
Rubble Belt Raiders.
Pretty crazy effect.
Yeah. I mean, it gets enormous, right?
It gets huge pretty fast. But it doesn't have any trample or anything to take advantage of that huge size.
This is exactly what happened to Hellrider when Hellrider came out.
Okay.
Hero of Oxid Ridge was still legal.
Okay.
And everyone was like, oh yeah, why would you play Hellrider? You can play Hero of Oxid Ridge.
Right.
At the time in the metagame it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Same thing with Rubble Belt Raiders. Why would you play this when you can play Hellrider?
Hellrider, yeah.
Hellrider's going to push way more damage.
Yep.
This is just going to get chump blocked.
Yep.
It doesn't give your other creatures any kind of effect. Like, Hellrider doesn't get bigger, but he makes everything do damage. Like, you can just not attack with Hellrider and ping people all day.
Right.
But when Hellrider's gone, I could feel this being very playable.
Yeah. It might have a day in the sun once the devil runs out.
Yes.
So
once there's no more hells to ride.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the fact that it's playable in 2 different colors also could give it some more play.
Yes.
Maybe even in some kind of like ooze deck. We were already like super green.
This might be able to slide into the green-black ooze deck.
Yeah.
Because you can just play it as a mono green card.
Right.
They already cast for ooze, so this isn't really too much out of the out of the ordinary. Could be good there.
The only thing I'd say against that one is that deck doesn't have a swarm mentality. It's more of a play a few guys.
Yeah, it's like play Predators, Rancor it up, go to town,
start going crazy.
Yeah.
So this is only really great when you have a bunch of guys.
Also, it doesn't have haste.
It does. Yeah, it doesn't. That's the other reason why Hellrider is vastly superior.
Right. Yeah.
It does combo nicely with guild names though.
Okay.
Give your guy trample.
Sure. Yeah. Just like it not having another ability on top of this ability.
Right.
They put way too much credit into this ability.
Yeah.
It gets huge, but it's not going to attack the turn it comes into play, and then it's just going to get continually chump blocked if it does manage to get huge.
The only thing I'd say pro in his favor is in this current standard, if he ever gets to attack and gets just 1 counter, he's really hard to remove.
Yes.
he doesn't die to Searing Spear if once he attacks. Doesn't die to Searing Spear. Doesn't die to Ultimate Price.
Nope.
Like, then you have to move to the other stuff like Deathwind, and then you got to make sure you have the mana for that.
Right. He's gonna get out of control.
Then you get out of control there.
You're not gonna like devour flesh it because you're playing a swarm strategy, so you have plenty of other creatures to feed to the flesh.
So then you're maybe on like Orzhov Charm, and then you're like, that's gonna be painful.
Then you just take him like 5 to the face.
Yeah.
Like.
So that's the one thing I would say. Like, okay, that's a consideration.
He is pretty good against removal. Whereas Hellrider can be pretty weak sometimes.
Yeah, Hellrider on the opposite side dies to almost everything.
Right.
But the haste almost makes him like better in that regard because it's always a surprise. If they didn't keep up that removal right then, he's going to get at least
very
one hit.
Very frequently against mono red strategies or Hellrider strategies, you just die when they play their 4th land.
Yeah.
In the future, you play your 4th land and play on Raiders, they're not going to die.
Yeah.
They're going to have plenty of time to play around
full turn, and they can
or think about it.
So
yeah. Well, that wraps up the Gruul cards.
So we'll be back tomorrow we're going to do Orzhov and Simic, or which ones?
Orzhov and Boros?
Orzhov and Boros, yeah, then Dimir, Simic.
Yep. Well, we'll look forward tomorrow for our Orzhov and Boros video. Good cards in those sets.
See you later.
Bye.